This is a video discussion on landscape dynamics. The following are the topics to be discussed. This video is divided into 4 parts.
Section 19.4 Patch size and shape influence community structure. Patch size has a crucial influence on community structure, species diversity, and the presence and absence of species. The increase in population size for a given species with increasing area is simply a function of increasing the carrying capacity for the species. The greater the area, the greater the number of potential home ranges that can be supported within the patch. Within the animal community, there is a general relationship between body size and the size of an animal's home range. The home range of carnivores is greater than that of herbivores. Larger patches are more likely to contain variations in topography in soils that give rise to a greater diversity of plant life, which in turn create a wide array of habitats for animal species. Another feature of patch size relates to the difference between the habitats provided by edge and interior environments. The size and shape of patches affect the relative abundance of edge and interior environments. In Figure A, assuming that the depth of the edge remains constant, the ratio of edge to interior decreases as the habitat size increases. When the patch is large enough to maintain shaded, moist conditions, an interior begins to develop. Figure B shows a general relationship between patch size and area of edge and interior. Below point A, the habitat is all edge. As size increases, interior area increases and the ratio of edge to interior decreases. Figure C shows the relationship of size to edge, which it holds for a square or circular habitat patch. Long, narrow woodland islands whose weeds do not exceed the depth of the edge are edge communities, even though the area may be the same as that of square or circular ones. Plant species were classified into interior and edge functional groups based on relative shade tolerance and habitat requirements. Species richness of edge species decreased with increasing patch size, while that of interior species increased. Section 19.5 Landscape connectivity permits movement between patches. The degree to which the landscape facilitates or impedes the movement of organisms among patches is referred to as landscape connectivity. There are two components to landscape connectivity: structural and functional. Structural connectivity relates to the physical arrangement of habitat patches on the landscape, that is, the degree to which patches are contiguous or physically linked to one another. Functional connectivity describes the degree to which landscape facilitates the movement of organisms and is a function of both the physical structure of the landscape as well as the behavioral responses of organisms to the structure. Functional connectivity is therefore both landscape and species specific. Oliver Honey and colleagues at the University of Leuven examined patterns of colonization of forest plant species on a fragmented landscape in central Belgium. The researchers found that for all species, the probability of successful colonization of a forest patch declined with distance from the nearest source population. Colonization success was greater for species with seeds dispersed by birds and mammals as compared to dispersal by wind or ants. The functional connectivity of the landscape differed among species based on their mode of seed dispersal. One structural feature of the landscape that can facilitate an organism's movement between patches of suitable habitat is a corridor.
Corridors are like bridges. Their ability to connect places makes them invaluable. Wild animals, especially the larger ones like elephants, and big predators like tigers, need large areas to survive in healthy numbers. When large forests are fragmented into smaller patches, these animals especially have a problem. So what happens if a fragmented forest is isolated, with absolutely no connection to any other forest? With good protection, animal numbers in this patch will increase over a period of time. But because the forest is isolated, the surplus population has nowhere to go. They are forced to move out into adjoining areas, very often where people live. This can lead to conflict. But if this fragment was connected by a corridor to an adjoining forest, animals can move between them and establish new populations. Areas that are disturbed and with small populations take a very long time to recover to a healthy level. But when connected to areas that have good population numbers, their population increases rapidly.
This is the end of part 2. Part 3 will be linked in the description box.